Hey guys! Buckle up for a new episode of Whispers in the Past podcast, the one and only podcast made to help you discover the historical aspects of transmitting information, knowledge, and values during the Spanish period. This is VJ Reg, and I have my co host with me.
Hello, I am VJ Rose, your beautiful co host.
Alright, and today's podcast we will talk about communication media during the Spanish colonial regime. We will discuss the ins and out of communication media during the Spanish colonial regime. Be sure to listen all the way through for the details. Hey partner, have you wondered how communication media exists during the Spanish colonial regime?
I wondered about that, partner, on what communication media was during the Spanish colonization and how these could help individuals during that time. I guess this episode will bring us centennial years ago, and we will reminisce and appreciate the communication media that served as pivotal during the Spanish regime.
Yes, indeed, partner. This episode will discuss the comprehensive analysis of Philippine media during Spanish colonization. It explains that media were used during the Spanish period to provide the people's information, education, and entertainment needs to expose colonial exploitation and seek independence is perhaps the most crucial nonviolent strategy for social and political reforms. It aims to promote a comparative and transnational sensibility and engage readers to examine media communication as a critical sector in the nation's history.
Wow! Those are exciting topics, partner. I know all of our listeners are now curious. So now, let's dig deeper on those.
Yes, partner. So now, if you think that newspapers were one of the communication media during Spanish colonization, you are correct. During those times, the Philippines had its press system that was utilized by our ancestors to widely spread information regarding the current state of our society. There were a number of newspaper outlets at that time, like Del Superior Gobierno, a first formal newspaper established in 1811 by the Governor General himself as an editor.
And to note, partner, the intended readers for this newspaper were the local Spaniards and the content was primarily news about Spain.
Yes, that's right, partner.
Another one is the La Esperanza. This newspaper still caters the elite, but it deals more with non-controversial topics. So, the content revolves around religion, science, and history.
I see, partner. And they also have Diario de Manila. It was considered the best edited newspaper.
You are correct, partner, because after 38 years of publication, the Governor General suppressed it for allegedly inciting the Filipinos to rebel against the Spaniards. Partner, they also have the nationalistic newspaper called La Solidaridad, the mouthpiece of the reformist and the fortnightly organ of the propaganda movement published in Spain.
Yes, and aside from having a nationalistic newspaper, they also have the first local publication.
Indeed, partner, it is called El Ilocano, the first local or regional publication that started in 1893.
Also, do you still remember the newspaper which advocated political reform, partner?
Of course, I do, partner, because our teachers always mention this during our Philippine history course, even during our high school days. And I remembered it clearly. It was named Kalayaan or Liberty in English. The only issue was published in 1898.
Yes, partner, it was Kalayaan. I am expecting our viewers that they are also be familiar with this newspaper that was published in 1898. And we are not yet done because during the Spanish regime, they also had a lot Independencia, which was published in 1898 and was the most widely read newspaper of the revolution.
And take note with this, our dearest viewers, that the most widely read revolution newspaper was the La Independencia.
And aside from the La Independencia, partner, during 1898 there was also La Libertad and the El Heraldo de Iloilo.
Other notable newspapers of Spanish colonization are the El Católico Filipino, which was the first Filipino religious newspaper and was published by a priest named Mariano Sevilla, and also the El Pasig, which was bilingual fortnightly in Spanish and Tagalog. It signified the advent of the native press, and the Diaryong Tagalog, the first daily newspaper that lasted from 3 to 5 months.
As
During their colony, Spanish newspapers vastly impacted the Filipino individuals. Not just newspapers were the reason for asking for revolution, but also the different writings of our ancestors who moved the nationalism of every Filipino through their writings. First was the most notable writings of Dr. Jose Rizal, his novel The Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, which narrated how our forefathers experienced the oppression at the hands of the dominants.
yes, partner, indeed. It was visible how Spaniards and clergies used their power to abuse Filipinos. Also, partner, from the beginning of colonization, native women were noted to write more than men. They bring about a generation of new poets, prose writers, and publishers of a wide range of genres from the major regions of the archipelago.
You are right about that, partner. The publication was published in 1893, which they called the El Hogar, and it makes us proud that they raised women's strength and capabilities even during that time.
Yes, partner, and as we all say now, woman empowerment. So, we do not have enough time already, partner, and I guess we have to say our goodbyes now to our pod babies.
Yes, partner, but before that, I hope that the pod babies have learned a lot from the topics we have shared.
Yes, and hopefully, partner, as this has a big part in our history. And reminder for our pod babies out there listening, if you have any suggestions to what topic should be discussed for our next podcast, feel free to comment it down.
Alright, that brings us to the end of this podcast. Thanks for being with us during the ins and out of our discussion of media during the Spanish colonial regime. We hope that this topic that we're sharing was beneficial to all who are listening out there. As always, thanks for listening to Whispers in the Past podcast.
Okay, goodbye everyone. This is VJ Rish
And this is VJ Rose.
saying have a good day.